Welcome back, everybody. Joining us from Washington with a look at Axios AM, national political reporter for Axios, Jonathan Swan. Jonathan, good morning to you.
Morning.
Talk to us about Axios' one big thing today.
So we take you inside what my colleague Mike Allen describes as the biggest blunder of Trump's presidency, the family separation policy, and then the head-spinning way in which he reversed himself yesterday. I came on this very show yesterday morning and said that there was no indication that he was going to unilaterally change his policy. And let me tell you, senior staff at the communications meeting in the morning in the White House were also under that impression. Their impression was that they were going to let Congress act, wait and see if they were going to fail or not, and then maybe after that introduce some sort of executive action. Trump changed course late in the morning and moved very rapidly. There was still uncertainty at about noon, 1 p.m., even 2 p.m. as that rolled on, exactly what form this was going to take. There was legal consternation, and so it was a complete moment-to-moment, improvised, as one source in the White House described to me, cluster.
So what do you think, Jonathan, really pushed the president over the edge? You had so many voices weighing in on this, from the Pope to the UN to Bono, every first lady, his own wife at that, weighing in on their dissatisfaction with the way the immigration situation was playing out. What do you think really pushed the president over the edge with this?
Reporters in general, and sometimes often I fall into this trap. We spend too much time analyzing advisors around the president. He is really a lone ranger. Yes, he listens to everyone. Yes, he seeks everyone's advice. But a source close to Trump put it best to us. Look, you have to understand, this is a man who watches more cable news than the average American. He is watching cable news from the moment he wakes up in the residence. He has his first meeting of the day, usually around 11 o'clock in the Oval Office. He's been watching TV until then. Then he spends most of the day, a lot of the day, when he doesn't have meetings, in the dining room, adjoining the Oval Office, watching cable TV. So it's the images, and it's absorbing this that was the tipping point, rather than any advisor.
Is there any reporting to indicate that his daughter had anything to do with this, the conversation that she had with him?
Well, again, she did advocate to him behind the scenes, and even more significantly, Melania Trump did. She never really weighs. Very rarely does Melania weigh in on policy, but she weighed in on this one. I don't know if you're going to do a hierarchy of influence. I don't know, and I don't think really anyone does.
How is the White House now viewing how this has all been dealt with publicly?
Well, the more honest aides, the more candid aides describe it as I described it before. One aide described to me yesterday as a cluster, and fully admitted to me, this is a senior aide, that this was probably around noon. They really didn't know where this was going to end up still. This was still a moving situation. And you have to remember, I think the Washington Post did a video yesterday of the 14 different ways in which the White House had described this policy over the last week. First, it's not our policy. Some were saying it is our policy and it's terrific. It's our policy, but we don't want it. We have no power to change anything. It's the law. Yeah. And of course, then they reverse themselves. Yeah,
the narrative certainly changed a lot, didn't it, over the last week or so? Jonathan Swan, thank you so much. We're going to be reading Axios AM in just a little bit. And to all of our viewers out there, you too can sign up for the newsletter at signup.axios.com.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.